Hello there and welcome to Faceoff. My name is Neota Igwe. In 2002, the International Court of Justice gave a judgment that at that time caused many to rejoice because plans had been put in place or plans had been declared to ensure that everybody was comfortable. After that ruling, the Nigerian government came up with an agreement which was drawn up with the government of Cameroon to ensure that the residents of that particular location on the continent between Nigeria and Cameroon, that's the BAKASSI Peninsula, that the residents of that area are comfortable and rehabilitated in any area of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And those that want to stay on the peninsula were allowed to stay there as citizens of Nigeria. 10 years down the line, agitations began to rise. People clamoring for an appeal of that judgment. Now, initially, that judgment that was given in 2002 has a 10-year lifespan. Within that 10-year period, that judgment could have been appealed. But nothing was done until just a few weeks to the closure, so to speak, of that window of appeal. 2 days or thereabout to the deadline of that appeal, the federal government, through the Attorney General of the Federation, gave a statement that said the federal government had no new grounds on which to appeal the judgment of the International Court of Justice. But while we go along talking about all the legalities back and forth of that court ruling, the question still remains, what about the people of that peninsula, the BAKASSI people? What do they want? Indeed, they have clamored that they be given back their livelihood, they be given a place to stay. And according to the UN Human Rights Charter, of which Nigeria is a signatory, the people of BAKASSI deserve to be heard and their rights honored and enforced. But is it possible that the federal government of Nigeria failed to do that? Or is there really no grounds on which they could have done anything? Well, on Faceoff today, we look at reclaiming BAKASSI. Is it possible? On what grounds can we do that? Now that that window of appeal has been closed, where do we go from here? That's what we're talking about today, and I have two gentlemen in the house. Incidentally, both of them are legal practitioners. Mr. Oke Ilofulunwa is the managing partner of a law firm in Lagos. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
And on this other side is a human resource practitioner and also a legal practitioner, Mr. Ifeanyi Onyebuchi. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
Now, Mr. Ilofulunwa believes that there is no basis whatsoever, that there was no point going ahead to even think of appealing that judgment. But Mr. Onyebuchi believes that unless that appeal is done, posterity would blame Nigerians, and they indeed the leadership of the country. What do you have to say? Join us on our Twitter handles at Faceoff Today or at Neota Igwe. Send your comments, your questions, or whatever you think should have been done. If you have any ideas, send them in. My two gentlemen are ready to go, but as I said, let's listen to these tracks from these two gentlemen.
Sea does not belong to Nigeria. Many Nigerians have been made to think that BAKASSI belongs to Nigeria because majority of the people there are now ethics. You need to look around Africa. Go to Benin Republic today. Go to Widea in Benin Republic. Go to Porto Novo. They are made up of Yoruba people. Would you now say because Yorubas are all there, they are there for the place is Nigeria? But what you can do is to review that judgment. So the court, the World Court said, look, if I give judgment, you have 10 good years to sit down and see whether I can still review my judgment. This judgment was given in 2002. It will be 10 years next week. Nigeria did nothing. Instead, we accepted the judgment, we executed the judgment, and we benefited from the judgment. Now, the three grounds that you are allowed to review a judgment are these. One, if you can show that the court made a mistake. Two, if you can show fraud. Or three, if you can show that at the time you presented your case to the court, there were certain facts unknown to you, but which were in existence then. We can buy it back, but it is going to be based on negotiation, not with the World Court, but with Cameroons.
Okay, that was Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Clark, talking about the fact that Bakassi did not belong to Nigeria. Let's hear what the governor of Cross River State has to say.
Our expectation was that as of today, which apparently seems to be the last day for us to put in the application for a review of that judgment, I have no confirmation that such an application is in place. I have been informed that a statement has been issued by the Office of the Attorney General on the federal government's seeming position. Now, whether that is the position of the committee that was set up by Mr. President, or whether it is the position of the Office of the Attorney General, I am not clear yet. We're still trying to get clarification. What we know is that at about 12 midnight today would be the last chance that we have to retain or to even have a fleeting chance at a review of the very intracted problem.
Okay, 12 midnight of today, as the governor of Cross River State said there, was yesterday 12 midnight. So the day, that window is closed. My guests have their opening statements to make, and I begin with you, Mr. Oke Ilofulunwa. 10 seconds, please.
Well, it's still unfortunate that we are still talking about trying to appeal or review, but the correction I want to make is that it's not an appeal, but a correction. The fact still remains that under Article 61 of Statute of ICJ, you can bring an application for review if you come across a new fact that was not known to you at the time you were presenting your case, and then you have under sub 4 of that Article 61, you have to do that within 6 months of becoming aware of that new fact, and that we've not done. So for me, we've lost that. We are the ones that subscribed to the jurisdiction of ICJ to try such cases, and the case was properly brought before the court, and the court has given its judgment, and as a law-abiding country...
Sorry, time up. 10 seconds, please.
Okay.
Your 10 seconds begin now.
Yeah, we had all the right to apply for a review of the judgment. And then what in this world will make us not to do that? And if you see the way we are ceding Bakassi to Cameroon, it's as if we are waiting for this time. It's unfortunate. Nobody is talking of the people there. We are talking of whether we will appeal or not. What about the people there? What will happen to them?
Okay, thank you very much, gentlemen, for your opening statements. We'll now get down to the debate proper with the first questions, and I'll begin with Mr. Onyebuchi asking the first question.
Okay. Now, do you agree we had right of appeal?
Just like I said, it's not an appeal. You
whether a review or appeal.
You apply for a review. Yes, of course, there's a provision for that under the SCJ statute. I agree entirely. We can do that. But there are certain conditions that must be met before you can, exercise that option.
No.
So the issue now is that have we met that condition? It's a condition precedent. If you don't have that, no appeal, no review.
Okay, when Mr. Clark was talking, he talked about fraud and courts made a mistake. But what about the plight of the people? Was that taken into consideration?
Well,
are the courts not supposed to be protecting the rights of the people?
Well, there are other international law provisions for protection of rights of indigenous people. For instance, the UN Declaration on the Right of Indigenous People, which was, which came into effect in 2007, protects the rights of indigenous people under certain circumstances. And also, there are other corpus of international laws that protects individuals, like International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights and all that, Universal Declaration of Human Rights of 1948. All these things are international laws geared towards protecting people. So if you feel that your right as a human being is infringed upon by any country, then you can protest.
Okay, so, but what about, like you were saying, the rights of the people in Bakassi? Does it mean that the international court, could the people of Bakassi have gone to appeal this judgment?
No, they can't do that.
They can't have
no,
that.
they can't
But
do
you
that.
just said something now that if you feel that your rights have been infringed upon by any country, you can go ahead and appeal.
No, what I'm saying is that there's a provision. There's a process of doing that. You protest to your government, and then your government will take your case to the appropriate international law body.
From what he's saying there.
Okay.
Go ahead.
What do you understand by new fact? Imagine. As at the time the judgment was on, you will agree with me that the right of the Bakassi people was not talked about. The International Court of Justice did not take judicial notice of the right of the people.
How do you mean they didn't take judicial notice?
They didn't take the judicial notice of the fact that people are called Bakassi people and they are in the land. And they are talking of who owns...
Wait. Okay. Do you really understand the history of that environment?
Do you know the history more than the people living there?
If you don't
Do you know
understand,
the history of Bakassi more than people living in Bakassi?
Let me explain. Let me explain. In 1884, that was shortly before the Berlin Conference, the British government came in and forced the people to sign a treaty with them, ceding the whole of that area to them. And that was what they shared in 1885 during the Berlin Conference that was convened by Otto von Bismarck, the then Chancellor of Germany. They came together and then shared the whole of these places. And that was how they come up with that the Anglo-German Agreement of 1913, ceding that area to Germany. So the point still remains that the people, by the document they signed with the British government, handed over that territory to British government. And the British government, in turn, signed a treaty with with Germany in 1913, handing over that area to Germany. And that is what led to the place, being handed over to France after the defeat of Germany in the Second World War, and then subsequently to Cameroon. That's the short history of that place. So the fact still remains that the people were the ones. I don't know how it was done. Of course, we all know that, they were somehow some form of intimidation before they signed this treaty. But that was a document. That was a document ceding that area to Britain. And Britain in turn handing it over to Germany and then subsequently to Cameroon.
The document they must have induced to sign.
I don't know.
Now, if you come to my house, maybe as a powerful captor, you shared my children. Say this one belonged to Mr. A, the other one belonged to Mr. B. And at the end of the day, whatever happened, I regained control of my family. Must I abide by your sharing?
Well, unfortunately, in this kind of instance, there's nothing you can do.
But hold on, let me just read out something here. On November 22nd, 2007, the Nigerian Senate rejected the transfer of Bakassi to Cameroon on the grounds that the Green Tree Agreement ceding the area was contrary to Section 12, subsection 1 of the 1999 Constitution.
Thank you. That same argument was the argument Nigeria made at the International Court of Justice. They were saying that because principally that judgment was anchored on three main documents. The first was the Anglo-German Agreement of 1913, the declaration that was signed in Yaoundé, the boundary adjustment deliberations of 1970, okay. The declaration of 1971 that was signed on 4th of April, and then subsequently the Moral Declaration of 1975 signed by the President. The argument of Nigeria was that that document, particularly the Moral Declaration of 1975, was signed by Gowon as then head of state. But then that law was supposed to have been ratified by the Supreme Military Council of Nigeria, which was not done. So on the basis of that document was not binding on Nigeria. But the ICJ rejected that argument on the grounds that you don't subject international law to your internal laws. What Nigeria should have done under the international law was to have used what we call a reservation, understanding, and declaration under the UN Convention of, under the Vienna Convention on Law of Treaties. You can do that. Once signing on to any particular treaty, you can say that for this treaty, it does not, using reservation, understanding, and declaration, to say that this particular treaty will not apply to you with regard to these circumstances. That is the only way. If
okay,
so
what he's saying, that means the Nigerian government was negligent of the desires of the people.
To say that the Nigerian government was negligent is just to say the least. There is, after 10 years, Nigerian government is not talking about the people of Bakassi. You need to be there. If you see the type of trauma they are passing through, they are dehumanized. And you find out that the people of Bakassi know where they belong. They say they belong to Nigeria. And technically, they belong to Nigerians now. Now, since they belong to Nigerians, can't Nigeria protect them? Now, you're talking of the grounds of appeal or review, or to apply for review, mistake, fraud, or new facts. I heard the Urban of Calabar the other time saying that they constituted legal team, committee, with emerging facts.
What new fact?
Now,
Can you name one?
did government care to find out or liaise with the people to say, okay, now we are going to appeal for review? What do you have? There was nothing like that. Until Thursday, just few days to the end
Of course, they must have made that presentation to the Attorney General. And that's why I give my kudos to him, because he stood up and then he stood on the side of the law. As the chief law officer of the country,
let me ask you a question.
He advised the president based on position of the law. I'm a lawyer. That's why I'm talking like that.
Fine.
Sentiments apart.
Fine.
Sentiments apart.
Let me
but
ask
as
you.
far as the position of law is concerned, I'm in total support of the position of the Attorney General of the Federation.
Not to appeal.
Exactly. Because you have not been able to show any new fact.
Do they have right to self-determination, the Bakassi people?
Well, that's a different issue.
What makes it different?
What makes it different?
No,
Can't it be a part of
no.
new fact that could give us ground for appeal? That these people that were not talked about during the judgment, now they were not made part of the whole thing. The Urban of Calabar did not even give evidence. The paramount ruler, Dr. Edet Etin, was not consulted. He didn't know anything about that. Somebody somewhere.
Let me ask you one question.
Okay.
The Protectorate of Lagos, the colony of Lagos State and the Protectorate of Southern Nigeria was, the two of them were amalgamated in 1906. Mm-hmm. The South are not protectorates. We amalgamated in 1914. I was not born then. My father was not born, but my grandfather was alive. Was he consulted when this amalgamation took place? Were Nigerians part of that decision to bring us as one country?
It is not a case.
It's the same thing.
It's not under litigation now. It's
the same thing.
It's not under litigation.
It's the same thing.
But what we are saying, now that it is under litigation, every mistake made, which the people of Bakassi were not party to.
So are you saying that, are you saying that as at that 2002, when the decision was made, or 1994?
They were not carried along.
Or that 1994, when the case was filed by Cameroon, that the issue of the right of indigenous people to self-determination
was not canvassed.
Was not canvassed
at all.
So are you saying that?
If you have read the judgment,
are you saying that? That was a new fact.
It is.
It's a new fact.
It is.
How?
If they now come up, we say, okay, the judgment was given. We were not consulted. And then we have the right to determine where we belong. Then it's a new fact. Yeah. Except it was canvassed. Since it was not canvassed upon, it is a new fact.
When did that fact come into limelight?
After the judgment.
After the judgment.
Well, because the court did not.
Let me read out something here. On July 9, 2006, the people of Bakassi declared themselves a Democratic Republic of Bakassi, that they were going to be a democratic if Nigeria renounced its sovereignty. Isn't that a ground, as in, he was saying something about them, a right of self-determination?
Well, that's a different issue.
They have do they have a right?
You were talking international
self-determination. Yeah, that's the question. You're talking about international law.
Let's talk about.
Do they have a right
under the international law, under the UN Charter? Do they have right
to self-determination?
To self-determination.
What kind of self-determination? To be a different country from Nigeria?
But do they have that right?
If they're able to carry it to the end, some countries have done that. Some countries have tried to do that, but they couldn't succeed. Or some people,
we are not talking of success now. Bringing it up. If they have right to do that, can't it form a new ground?
You are saying that if you say right of self-determination, right of self-determination to do what? To form themselves into a different country,
or to choose where to be.
To choose where to be.
Yes.
Well, even, I mean, so somebody can decide to migrate to a different country and adopt the nationality of that country and becomes a citizen of that country. That's individual's right of self-determination. I can decide to migrate to America today and then fulfill their immigration requirements and become an American. That's my choice. But that is different from bringing a case before the ICJ. That's what we're talking about. It's different. The Eastern people tried to do that to exercise their right for self-determination, and they couldn't succeed, and that's and that ended it. So there are two different things. If you are saying that some people want to exercise their right for self-determination, and the end product of that being to declare their independence and become a different country, if they succeed, fine. But if they don't, too bad.
Now, what steps do you think they will take to succeed or not to succeed?
I mean, that's not what I'm here to canvass.
No.
I don't have to canvass that,
Since you have the opinion that there was no need for appeal,
the law is clear under international law on what you have to do for you to be recognized as a nation under international law. It's clear.
So, as based on what you're saying right now, what happens to the people of Bakassi?
Fine.
Well, the Obasanjo, in his wisdom, in 2006, in that the Green Tree Agreement that was signed in Green
Which have
Tree,
been violated by Cameroon.
Article 3 of that agreement properly listed out those, or tries to protect those rights. That first of all, that the Cameroonians or Cameroon will not do anything that will destroy the culture of the people. Will not unjustly discriminate against them. We will not do anything that will maltreat them basically, and then also that they should be able to treat them basically, not to discriminate against them. That's the stipulations of that Green Tree Agreement, particularly Article 3 of that. But then, if
is Cameroon doing that now?
That's a different issue. If there are findings that Cameroon...
Sorry. Did you say it's a different issue?
Yeah.
I say a different issue.
It cannot be a different issue.
No, wait.
It cannot.
I'm saying it's a different issue.
What I'm saying, that
first
Green Tree Agreement
yes,
of Obasanjo
yes,
and the president of
Cameroon, Paul Biya,
supervised by the then UN scribe.
Yes, and then witnessed by about 3 or 4 other countries.
And you discover that the Cameroonians are still maltreating the people of Bakassi. They don't allow them to farm. They don't allow them to go into their normal business of fishery and all that. And then you are telling me that we should keep quiet. We don't have new fast. I don't know the definition of new fast again.
No. The point I'm making is the basis.
Okay, sorry, gentlemen. Sorry to come in here. The question is, how do we reclaim Bakassi?
Fine.
How do we take care of the, what do you call it, the rights of the people, and then still abide by the international laws, as you said? How? That's what we're here to find out, gentlemen.
In the first place, I believe in rule of law.
Okay, so he's right.
I'm coming. I believe in rule of law. The rule of law gave us right to appeal for a review, which we have wasted. And now that we have wasted it, what happens to the people of Bakassi?
Please explain, when you say wasted, please explain.
Wasted means we did not utilize that opportunity to appeal the judgment.
Wait, do you just appeal for the sake of appealing?
You don't,
or do you just apply
look,
for
when you go for an appeal,
yes,
3 things will happen.
Yes.
Either your case is outrightly dismissed,
yes,
or is outrightly allowed,
yes,
or some grounds are allowed,
yes,
and some grounds dismissed.
yes.
So how can you now be in your house and determine what will happen in the marketplace?
Then what is the function of the Attorney General?
The function of Attorney General,
with regard to this kind of application?
What you also ask is, if he has function, has he performed the function? Is he willing to perform the function.
But he did that.
What did
He
he
did
do?
that. He constituted the Board of International Law Experts, reviewed the entire facts.
Sorry, a body of international experts.
Yeah, international law
When wa-
experts.
when was
When was that?
Yeah, of
Because
course. In the statement,
listen,
No, no,
listen.
when was that done?
When
When
was
was
that?
it
that was recently.
The
No.
body was considered recently.
It was an in-house body constituted by the Attorney General. That
Recently?
Exactly,
No.
recently.
Okay,
That is contained in his statement.
hold
They
on,
issued
hold on.
that about 3 days ago.
Hold on here. The judgment was given in 2002.
Exactly.
In 2007, the Senate rejected it.
Then 2 days to the end of.
The Senate rejected it.
They rejected that ruling in 2007. Is that not true?
Well, it's unfortunate that rejection
22nd
is
of
no
November
moment,
2007.
as far as the law is concerned.
Okay, but I'm just saying something here.
Okay.
The Attorney General of the Federation now was not the Attorney General of the Federation then.
Yes.
But in 2007, the
Yes.
Senate rejected it.
Yeah.
So when he came into power, came into office, he must have seen or gotten some of this documentation.
But in 2008, it was in 2008 that, I mean, the government of Nigeria handed over to Bakassi.
In 2008, still went ahead to hand it over.
Exactly.
So the Attorney General of the Federation then did not do his job, if we're going by what Mr. Ibuchi said. Then, the Attorney General did not do his job to look through.
The Attorney General then did not do his work. The present Attorney General, did not also do his work.
No.
He
don't
didn't
agree.
come.
No, I don't agree.
It was on Thursday.
I don't agree.
Last Thursday,
Yes.
that the so-called committee was set up to look into whether or not to appeal for a review. And then, even 48 hours to the end of the time, people were crying. We are not hearing our Attorney General. Let him come up to speak. Let him talk. And he kept mute. He didn't talk. And you tell me he did the right.
Claiming Bakassi 2002 judgment was given 2007, Nigerian Senate rejected 2008, the federal government of Nigeria hands it over 2010, clamors begin to increase, and 2010 still, the federal government gets up to say there is no basis for this appeal. Where do we go from here? Okay, your question.
Well, my question is, if you were to be the president of Nigeria, now, what would you do?
After the lapse of the time of appeal.
Okay, first of all, the first hour of the question is before the elapse of the 10-year window, and then after.
I would have constituted a panel or a committee,
Yes.
both lawyers and non-lawyers. Then there will be a legal team that will work with the larger committee. They will look at the facts which the Bakassi people say they have. They will look at it and then present to the general committee. And the legal team will take it to appeal. And then when we go to that appeal, we will not fail before going there. We canvass what we have.
Did we fail before going there?
The issue, we didn't go at all. We were not interested in going. We were sitting Bakassi as if we've been waiting for that opportunity. If this judgment were to be the other way around, do you think Cameroon would have agreed, would have given up like that? When you want to lose, you lose gallantly.
Yeah, but Nigeria went to the court. Okay, Cameroon brought that case before the ICJ, and Nigeria constituted their so-called best 11 to go and defend that. And then they put up a gallant fight, and then they lost. Or we lost.
And they still have ground to continue. Why wouldn't they continue?
Well, for me, as a lawyer,
You failed
I don't
the
like
first
to fight a losing game. Yes, because my job as a lawyer is to properly look at facts, analyze the facts in light of the law, before I go to, I mean, that's my practice. If I know that you have a bad case, I'll tell you, you have a bad case, and there's no
if you
nothing I
were to
can do
be
about
a
it.
Bakassi man today, what will you do, given the circumstance?
Well, that is where life goes. That is where life goes. Even our, even internally, during the boundary adjustments with regard to creation of states, there are instances where a particular community has been divided into two, one part in a different state and the other part in a different state.
In the same country. We are talking
in the same country.
We are talking of you waking up.
No, I'm just trying to use that now to explain to you that these things
So
happen.
the Bakassi people went to bed one night and woke up the next day, went to
They
bed
said they are
Nigerians,
no
woke up
longer-
the next day Cameroonians.
No.
Okay, where are you from?
You are missing the
Okay,
point.
okay.
You are missing the point.
Okay.
The
Where are you
case-
from? Okay, where are you from?
I'm from Anambra State. The case.
Where in Anambra?
Adasinuk.
Now, listen. If you wake up tomorrow morning, they said, okay, some people somewhere met. You are no longer from that your village.
No, they didn't say that.
So
They
what?
didn't say that.
Okay,
What
but
did they say?
said that
It
your
was-
land is
it-
not that land
yes,
no
it-
longer
because
belongs
the case was to properly delineate the boundary, the land and maritime boundary between Nigeria and Cameroon. It's not as if that the court said that those people there that are Nigerians are no longer Nigerian, that are Cameroonians.
Okay.
But they just demarcated the boundary.
Okay,
That's the case.
they are still Nigerians, but in Cameroon.
Well, that's what it is.
Oh, they are
No, the
Nigerians,
land.
but in
No,
Cameroon.
no.
Maybe
The
they are
land.
Nigerians
No,
residing in Cameroon.
No, that particular land, that boundary, the part that the
peninsula.
court, that peninsula, the part that the court has ceded to Cameroon. If you are there, you are in Cameroon. But if you cross over to the other side, you are in Nigeria.
Okay, so what's the way forward right now?
Well,
That was the question you asked him, which he did not answer. He said if you were the president of Nigeria then, that's what you talked about. Now, as the president of Nigeria, what would you do?
Well, as a president of Nigeria, if I were party to ceding the Cameroon, ceding the
No, you
to
are not
Cameroon,
party to sitting Bakassi, but what would you do? You're now the president of Nigeria.
after the right of appeal has elapsed, I will resettle the people of Bakassi.
which the government has done.
No. The government established refugee camp. There is difference between settlement and refugee camp. They are refugees. That is not settlement. If you want to
No, go ahead.
yes,
go ahead.
if you want to settle
not a
me,
laughing matter.
No. Yes, the government built glorified refugee camp and called it settlement. It's not settlement. They were not resettled. Otherwise, they won't be complaining.
Well,
They've lost the means of livelihood.
My
They can't go to the. If you see what they are passing through in Cameroon,
My point is that, different parts of the country are experiencing different misfortunes. Even in Lagos State, right now, about 25 states are being ravaged by flood. These
It's
are
not ju-
that's a different case. That's a different case. That's a different
These
case.
are problems. And then the issue now is, you are saying that government did not properly settle those people that are now refugees or internally displaced persons in Nigeria. But these are the issues that we have to take up. If they're not being taken care of, then they cannot articulate those points, and then we can make a case for that
Where?
to the government. Yeah.
So
They can make a case to be properly taken care of. Then that I can support. But telling me that we have to go and disgrace ourselves at
what about
do you
what
think-
about buying
Out of
back?
it.
What about buying back? You, as the president of Nigeria, you have 30 seconds to say 20 seconds rather to say this. What about buying back? U.S. bought Alaska from the USSR. Then, I mean, what about diplomatic means? What about those things?
Yes, diplomatic means could work. It's a matter of calling Cameroon, say, what do you want? By history, by everything, no matter what our colonial masters did or whatever, or did not do, these people belong to us. What will it take us to reclaim the place? And whatever they say, we are equal to the task.
Well, if that works, I'm all for it.
If it doesn't work, I am seeing armed struggle in future by the people of Bakassi.
Whoa.
I'm not sure they will lose outrightly like that.
Okay.
And when they will go into the carrying arms, it will affect those of us who think we are not concerned. Because
No. Don't say that we're not concerned. Every Nigerian is concerned, but the issue is to what extent? What can the person do, or what can we do? There could be other political solutions to that, but if you're talking about legal solutions, using this window, is a bad case.
Okay.
But we could explore other political solutions.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Oke Ilofulunwa. Thank you for coming. And Ifeanyi Onyebuchi, thank you for coming. And High Flyer, Austin Fadere, and Chris Femi, all of you, thank you for sending in your tweets. High Flyer says, it's sickening to think that the ICJ BAKASSI judgment is based on documents initiated by, according to him, aliens. Well, that's according to High Flyer. Fadere says, it's too late to cry when the head is off. What Nigeria should do right now is resettle the people, as you said, in order for them to have a good life. Well, those are the only tweets we can take because we are out of time. Thank you for letting us be a part of your evening. Based on what my guests have said, looks like the government still has a lot of work to do. Diplomatic ties and talking to the people of BAKASSI, find out the things, how they want to be settled. Till we come your way again, have yourself a good evening.
Coming up next,